Hello everybody and welcome to Assembly. I appreciate that the announcement on Wednesday that schools won't open before March the 8th will have brought more uncertainty and some disappointment, but I remain so proud of all that everyone is doing, and we certainly remain very busy as the following notices demonstrate. Turning first to sport, the next House Sports Challenge will be the House Marathon Challenge. The challenge is in two parts: which house can collectively run the marathon in the fastest time, and which house can achieve the most participants as a percentage of their total. And you can run any distance from a mile, so please do have a go and send in your distances and times to Mr. Williams. Full details will be posted through Teams. Congratulations to Ollie Tomlin, who has made the prestigious top 15 prospects for under-18 rugby players in the country. This was decided by Next Gen Rugby, who cover and promote schoolboy rugby across the world. Ollie was originally placed in the top 100 and then gained recognition in the top 15. This is an outstanding accolade and one even more remarkable given that there's been no rugby played this season. It's testament not only to his talent but also to his hard work. Well done, Ollie. We look forward to following your progress in the future. Debating. This week has seen some exciting debates happening in both the sixth form and the third to fifth form debating society sessions. The sixth form debated the motion, "This House regrets the rise of call-out culture," with the opposition team taking the win. The third, fourth and fifth form debated the motion, "This House believes that UK citizens should have the right to bear arms," again with the opposition taking the win. So on balance it seems we are supportive of calling people out but not being armed when so doing. Interesting topics for discussion around the supper table at home as well. We wish the best of luck to the public speaking teams in the third form who are going to be competing online over the next couple of weeks in the ESU Churchill Public Speaking Competition 2021. Good luck. And the first House Challenge General Knowledge match took place this week as well, with Grove beating Hope 90-30. Matches are taking place again on Mondays and Wednesday lunchtimes via Zoom. Eco Council. The Eco Council is a body of pupils who are working towards the Eco School's green flag status for St. Peter's. Their next virtual meeting will be at lunchtime on Tuesday of next week. Thank you to those pupils who've already put their names forward to be included. If you have an interest in helping the school work towards a greener future and would like to be involved, please message Mrs. Hall directly via email or Teams. 627 concert. A reminder that everyone is welcome to send in either video or audio recordings to Mr. MK for inclusion in the online 627 concert on Thursday the 11th of February. The deadline for submissions is Monday the 8th of February. Mr. MK recommends attaching the files to a chat in Teams as they're often too large to email. Lambda. Across St. Peter's 8 to 18 we had 24 distinctions, one merit, and one of the distinctions was from a young boy with a poetry recital. So such wonderful news, with disciplines ranging from introductory verse and prose at Peter's 8 to 13 to grade 7, silver medal verse and prose at Peter's 13 to 18. Public speaking results were strong, with a grade 5 and 6 at distinction level and grade 8 receiving distinctions. And finally, Wednesday of this week marked Holocaust Memorial Day, the annual event which encourages us to remember the 6 million Jews murdered by the Nazis during the Holocaust and millions of others exterminated, such as disabled people, homosexuals and the Roma. The day is also held to remember the millions killed in other genocides since the Second World War, including Cambodia in the 70s, Rwanda and Bosnia in the 1990s and Darfur in the early 2000s. It's held on January the 27th because that's the anniversary of the liberation of the largest Nazi-run death camp, Auschwitz-Birkenau, in 1945. And, as well as remembering the past, the importance of Holocaust Memorial Day is to honour survivors and all those whose lives have been changed beyond recognition by genocide. In learning about the past, it also encourages us to take action to create a better, safer future, recognising that genocide can begin if discrimination, racism and hatred are not checked and prevented. It may seem strange to describe having met Holocaust survivors as an honour, but I've been fortunate to know two personally. Joseph Pearl, who died 2 years ago, and Rudy Oppenheimer, who died last year, devoted years of their lives to visiting schools and telling firsthand their experience of the Holocaust and the deaths of their parents, siblings, relations and friends. They were determined to keep the truth alive so that new generations would know what had happened and be aware of how such atrocities could happen again. There are few Holocaust survivors still alive, but some years ago there was an amazing project to record their testimonies and create holograms of some survivors who can respond to questions using artificial intelligence. One survivor still alive today is 99-year-old Freddie Nola, who recorded some elements of his story through the Holocaust Education Trust, which I'd like to share with you now. I was born in 1921, he says. When I was 22 years old, I was sent to Auschwitz. I survived the Holocaust. My earliest years in Vienna were largely happy ones, but I was also subjected to anti-Semitism. After the Germans invaded my home country of Austria, this became unbearable. I still remember Kristallnacht, the broken glass and the beatings of so many Jewish men received. It became clear that to stay was dangerous. My parents, in their 50s, believed they were too old to be the targets of the Nazis, so they stayed in Vienna. They were wrong. My parents were murdered in Auschwitz-Birkenau alongside 1.1 million other Jews. My brothers and I all left Vienna. I went first to Belgium and then to France. Eventually I joined a French resistance group in southwest France alongside non-Jews who risked their lives to stand up for what was right. But I was betrayed, tortured and sent to a concentration camp. In October 1943 I was sent to Auschwitz-Birkenau, an indescribable place. I was sent there by cattle wagon. There was barely any food or water. During the journey I met a man called Robert. I looked after him. We arrived filthy, starving and terrified, feeling abandoned by the world. We were tattooed with a number. I was no longer Freddie Noller, I was 157103. I didn't know how I would survive. But Robert was a doctor, and when we arrived, he ended up working in the camp hospital, and he made it his mission to keep me alive, sneaking me extra food every day in the camp. I believe he's why I'm still here, why I survived the place where my parents were murdered. On January the 18th, 1945, I was sent on a death march and ended up at Mittelbau-Dora concentration camp. From there, I was moved to Bergen-Belsen, and the British Army liberated me on April the 15th, 1945. I survived concentration and death camps, deportations and a death march. 6 million Jews did not, and were systematically and brutally murdered by the Nazis. Eventually, I was reunited with my brothers in the United States, where I married a British woman. We've been married for 70 years and built a life that I never thought we could have together. Today I share my story with you. I turn 100 in April. I will not be able to share my story forever, but the story must live on. People must know what happened. My ask of you today is simple. Share my story and remember my family who were murdered by the Nazis. Learn the lessons of history and build a future that we can all be proud of. Genocide, the attempt to wipe out an entire race, is the most extreme form of prejudice, but we must be under no illusions that this is where its roots lie. In stereotyping people according to labels rather than individuals, and homophobia, xenophobia, sexism, religious intolerance or racism are all too common examples. The ever-present dangers of this have been brought into sharp focus in recent years, with xenophobia permeating some aspects of campaigning over Brexit, the Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter. That's why it's good to have annual reminders, as it's all too easy for one day to slip into another until horrific events such as the murder of George Floyd make people stop and wake up to what's happening around them and right in front of their eyes. I spoke recently about the dangers of language used by Trump to group people with phrases such as the gays and the women, ignoring their individual identities. And it is that seemingly innocuous low-level labelling which starts to normalise prejudice. In a world full of uncertainty, it's more important than ever that we see ourselves as part of a global community and a common humanity. We can do that through learning about the past and putting the lessons of history into practice today, through rejecting all forms of stereotyping, prejudice and discrimination. Also, acting in service to others in the way that we fundraised for food banks, supported the NHS locally and recently provided premises for St John's Ambulance to train vaccination teams to help speed up the rolling out of that programme. So, take some time out to reflect on the meaning and message of Holocaust Memorial Day. Consider your own situation and what you can do for others, and, as ever, stay safe, go well, and crack on.